Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast. Soly here, joined by my guy TC. I hope you guys are watching this one on YouTube. He got me so good with the hat. I hadn't seen this before. It got me really good. Hello, TC.
Soly, I think I've worn this hat one time before. I got some nasty notes from people before they realized what it said. It says no water, no inclusions, and there's no vowels.
Oh, yeah, it's upside
Either.
down for those that are not
Upside
watching.
down, big, smallish / big letters. Just a tribute to our guy P.
I mean, I spent an uncomfortable amount of time trying to read it, trying to see what it says, and I'm mad I didn't get there on my own. But we got a lot to talk about. DP World Tour Championship, some cards given out as well from the top finishers on the DP World Tour headed to the PGA Tour. The Butterfield slaps. I'm ready to promote it to slaps status. We get conditions there frequently enough. I'm excited to talk about that one. Cambridge down at the LPGA, the Annika event, some odds and ends. We have some PGA Tour financials were released. Justin Thomas undergoes surgery. We're going to talk a lot of things here on the back end. Before we get to that, quick recap of results from around the world. Matt Fitzpatrick won his third DP World Tour Championship, playing a Pro V1X, if I may say. 8 of the 10 DP World Tour players earning their PGA Tour cards were Pro V1 players. Adam Schenk won on the PGA Tour playing a Pro V1. Lynn Grant won on the LPGA Tour playing a Pro V1. The Japan Tour, the Sunshine Tour, the PGA Tour of Australasia, PGA Tour champions, all Pro V1 or Pro V1X players. The best players in the world don't leave anything to chance, which is why more than 70% of them around the world this year count on the performance, quality, and consistency of Titleist golf balls. They're all incredibly dialed into their flight, spin, and feel needs. If you haven't been fit for a golf ball, it makes a massive, massive difference. I really, really enjoyed the low flight, low spin of the Pro V1 and the soft feel. If you listen to our recap or our spotlight pod we did with Casey this past week, she really loved the Pro V1X for the height it gives her, for the spin it gives her. She doesn't mind playing a firmer golf ball. So there's a lot to be learned and had out of a session that is getting you into a ball fitting. And Titleist has a ton of ways to find the right golf ball model for you, from in-person fittings with their proprietary golf ball fitting app to the online golf ball selector tool and free one-on-one consultations where you can chat with an expert virtually. Head to Titleist.com to learn more. I might experiment with the Pro V1X as well. I might be getting into my lower spin days faster than I thought I was going to, TC.
You were talking about that on the ride home.
I know.
On Monday.
I just don't like the firmness, but I might need to just experiment just a little bit. But we play a little golf. We're going to talk a little bit about that on the back end as well. Great, not new course, but new course in Southeast Georgia. Great dunes, which we're going to talk about on the back end as well. So stick around for that. But
Soly, I started marking my ball. I found this Sharpie. It's got like almost a glow in the dark yellow. Just color to it, hue to it. I've started marking my ball with that. It's so distinctive. I'm in love with it. It's because I haven't figured out how I want to mark my ball in perpetuity. Like I would like to have it turn into my true signature, my calling card, and I just so I've been kind of experimenting there.
I might be team yellow ball eventually also. I mean, just for that feeling when you walk up to the fairway and you know which ball is yours is a really, really great feeling, especially when you're looking for balls as often as I am. TC, the DP World Tour Championship slapped. Some great golf this week, kind of all around the professional golf world. Matt Fitzpatrick wins the DP World Tour Championship. Rory wins the season-long title. Rory had a 3-shot lead over Fitzpatrick with just 7 holes to play. I caught up on the highlights this morning. Ludwig was involved. Laurie Cantor was doing stuff. Fleetwood entered the scene. Justin Rose was stuffing it on par 5s. Rory gave one back at the par 4 12 to fall back into a tie with Laurie Cantor at that point. Fitz comes in, birdies 13, 15. Birdies the par 5 18th to get to 18 under par. Rory actually bogeyed 16 to fall all the way back to 16 under and 2 shots back. Tommy had a look at eagle on 18. It barely missed. He finished just 1 shot back. That guy just continues to absolutely flash.
I think he's the best golfer in the world right now.
Let's just not get carried away. I was trying to get fast to the next sentence, so you didn't try to work that in there.
And you skipped Rasmus Niergaard Peterson, too.
Well, we'll get there. Rory had 231 into the par 5 finisher, hit this awesome little choked up on what I believe was a 5-wood. He caught the good side of the ball splitter in the middle of that green. got a great read off Nearguard's eagle putt, and then rolled it in for eagle, 15 feet, 11 inches. Did it again to tie to force another playoff in the DP World Tour with an eagle on the par 5 18th. Proceeds to drive it in the creek in the playoff, the creek that bisects the fairway, ends up making bogey to Fitz's par. This is Fitz's third DP World Tour Championship. Golf course is super entertaining, way better than the other course in Dubai. I just really enjoyed watching this one.
I couldn't agree more. There's centerline bunkers down the stretch. I think it's the Earth course at the Jumeirah Estates, designed by none other than Greg Norman, the shark himself. Cool creek that runs down the 18th hole. It's like you got to make decisions both off the tee and with your second shot, which is not always the case in pro golf, and it's definitely not always the case in desert golf.
Some of those pins were really fun too. Like the par 5 second, they had it tucked like almost like greenskeeper revenge, tucked all the way in this far left corner in this tiny little bowl. Like you had to work to get at some of these pins, and yeah, great. I mean, man, Fitz, for a guy that you once swore off the Ryder Cup team, like went out of your way to say he's not on my team. What a freaking back half of the year he's had and finish he's had to the year, and to outlast Rory the way that he did. I'm stoked for Fitz. Fitz was kind of just like falling off the discussion in golf in general. He was obviously rose to being one of the top players in the world, won the U.S. Open in 2022, and was on his way to just kind of not being thought of or talked about, and has totally battled his way back and found his game. And looks like he's headed back towards being, I would say, a top 10 player in the world. I say that without having checked what he actually is. But
he was 24th as of before this victory. We'll see what he rises to. I would assume somewhere in the top 18 or so.
He is 14th in the data golf rankings coming into this. So yeah, he is knocking at the door to get into that one. But
yeah, very good. Like second half of the year, kind of July onward, really got on his horse.
Yeah, he finished basically. I mean, finished T8 at the PGA, T8 at the Rocket this summer, then T4 at the Scottish, T4 at the Open, T8 Wyndham Championship. This fall in the DP World Tour, T6 5th, T5 at the British Masters, the Omega European Masters, the BMW PGA Championship. Now gets this win. And I mean, yeah, Rory gets another DP World Tour Championship title. And I lost how many?
4 or 5?
I think it's more than that, isn't it?
Really?
I think it's like 4 or 5 in a row.
I was reading about it today because I know he had talked to the great man Sevy's wife prior to the round today. Then I think they named
it's the race to Dubai. He's won, yeah.
Okay.
It's this
they've named
time
an award. Okay. I think he's one shy of Monty winning it. Tied or beat Sevy now, and he's one shy of Monty for total race to Dubai's or European Tour kind of season-long championships. So, and they named a award after him as well for lowest. I think like best performance in the 4 majors. Basically, they tied it back to race to Dubai points, but 36-year-old Rory has an award named after him.
When he keeps just winning DP World Tour championships without trying that hard. I mean, he doesn't play that many DP World Tour events. Obviously, he cleans up in the majors, and I mean the ones that he does play, he just absolutely dominates. He played 4 this fall and plays 5 to start the year, kind of with nothing really in between, and the co-sanctioned Scottish Open there in the middle, and won the Irish Open, of course. He won the DP World Tour Championship last year. I guess it's only. I'm looking at this. It's 5. He doesn't even play that many to start the year. He played 1 to start the year, and I was looking at 4 previous starts that he had at the end of 2024. And he just keeps winning these things. It's kind of crazy how easy he makes it look.
And yeah, just winning them on the heels of. I mean, I guess he put in a lot of good work before the Ryder Cup, so you can just kind of keep that going. Curious to see how ready he is at the beginning of the year, January, February into March. Or if he kind of takes some time off here in December and really.
Well, he's got Australian Open and Australian PGA. He's playing both of those, isn't he, down there?
No, I think I know he's playing Open. I don't know if he's playing PGA, but I think after that, because that's first weekend or second weekend in December, and then I would imagine he shuts it down for a good 5 weeks after that till the Dubai Desert Classic.
I feel like he always does that though, but I think he's got. Doesn't he have the Golf Channel Games
Oh, he does.
Something like that.
Right.
You know he's going to try to peak for that. But you're right. He's not playing the PGA, but he's playing Australian Open at Royal Melbourne, December 4th through 7th. I know a lot of us are greatly looking forward to that one. A few other bits from this tournament or kind of the end of the DP World Tour season. Eddie Pepperell had a great video on the DP World Tour feed. Eddie Pepperell securing his DP World Tour card back. That guy's been through a lot of ups and downs over the last several years. He was highly emotional about that, and just always a guy that is great to listen to talk about golf, and great, somebody that we always have rooted for here. So congrats to Eddie. Super pumped for him there.
Yeah, thoughtful human being, and one of the guys that just makes it human, right? Makes you root for him, and yeah, he's had a great kind of great bounce back here. And then I think, like, looking at this tournament specifically, Rory Cantor is playing good golf. I think he's up inside the top 70, 75 in the world. And, you know, he kind of left for live for a little bit there, and just kind of faded away, and he's back in the scene. So good to see him playing well.
Well, you got to be stoked about, you know, a clique accomplishing, you know, a former clique, like a clique graduate accomplishing.
Once a clique,
things,
always a clique. So.
Right, of course, but accomplishing things out there. He is one of the 10 guys who has secured a PGA Tour card through the DP World Tour. I feel like we revisit this. I guess I remember how many years this has been, but I feel like this is around that time of the year where everybody just throws, lobs grenades at the DP World Tour for sending its 10 best players over to the PGA Tour.
What's your year, right?
Is it only just the second year? Okay. What's your take on that?
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, their best players are going to have eyes for coming over anyway. It sounds like there was an Eamon Lynch column last month about just how much the PGA Tour is tossing over the DP World Tour to underpin like a lot of those purses. We'll talk about tour financials here in a few minutes, but definitely interesting just to see the trajectory of that relationship, because I think it's going to get interesting over the next few years. As you know, does the tour say, all right, we're not getting enough out of this and we're having to kick too much money over, or and hey, we can do this more efficiently if we just stand up our own tournaments worldwide? Or are they going to deepen the relationship and really really make it a lasting one? So it's a funny mix of up and comers like Marco Penge or Kita Nakajima, Rasmus Nørgaard Peterson getting tour cards. Then you've got the Rory Cantors, Jordan Smiths, Alex Norins, who've kind of bounced around worldwide. You got Haotong Li, got his as well. John Perry, 38-year-old. So it kind of runs the full spectrum of DP World Tour. Veterans, up and coming rookies. You've got Christopher Raitan, Adrian Sadier. So yeah, it's an interesting group. I'll be curious to see how many tournaments they play in over here, or if they kind of keep a foot in both camps. Because I think they're pretty far down the priority list as well. When
DJ touched on this last week, I think there was only 2 of the 10 graduates from the DP World Tour last year that were inside the top 100 and set to keep their card for 2026. So this feels like a stronger group to me. I mean, Pinch seems like the real deal. Raitan definitely seems like he's on the way up. Norin, I'm surprised he hadn't already kept his status on the PGA Tour.
I think he was kind of like a foot in both camp, and he could kind of do it either way.
Injuries too, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think he kind of said, "Hey, I'm going to do this through the DP World Tour," and then had the wins. He had 2 wins this fall, I think. So.
And we asked Keith Pelly when he was on the podcast about, like, all right, yeah, what is the deal with this? And look, it's kind of one of the offshoots of just being like a member-run organization. Like essentially, it's an offering you give your members for playing well. Like you will have a ticket to the big dance, to the PGA Tour, to make even more money, right? Like when talking about serving the interests of their members, that was something that they considered to be the best way to serve them. Was finish top 10, you're going to have opportunity to play for a heck of a lot more money over on the PGA Tour. Does it serve like the short-term needs of the DP World Tour, like ship off your top 10 best players? No, but when the other tour is underpinning all of your salaries, and you're kind of in the state that this tour is in, unfortunately. It's just a very different world than the European tour was in even 20 years ago, even less than that, maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a new landscape, and it's not for me to say, are they better off just going with the Saudis at this point? Because I don't know what the future of that would even look like, and I don't really want to think about unwinding all of that. But yeah, it's interesting. Eamon Lynch's column as well on just the SSG considerations around global golf in general. And it's kind of one of those easy things to come in and say, wait, we're spending this much money on another tour. Like, what are we getting out of this? And what the future of this looks like, I have absolutely no idea.
I did see that DP World extended their deal with the tour through 2035. I assume it was probably set to expire in, I don't know if it was 28 or 29 or whatever, but another 5 or 6 years on that too. So at least they got that going for them. There's some stability there on the commercial side overall. So
did you see the long drive challenge they had using the world's smallest golf club?
I did. You know, Soly, this is another perk of being a member there, right? You get the opportunity to do stuff like this.
I'm pulling on the leaderboard here. If you're watching this online, one player cleared 290 yards with extremely small headed driver. That was
It was like the size of a golf ball.
It was really small, right? And Rory was second at 279 yards. There were some tops directly into the water. Kind of the median on this list is Justin Rose, 11th place, 257 yards. I assume this was yards. I went digging on this. I don't think it was meters, and I don't know if it was carry or total. They didn't really give out those details, but obviously the ball going a lot less far with a much smaller, riskier driver. I mean, yes, this is on the exaggerated end of the spectrum, but I mean,
like
gosh,
Zoolander. What is this? A driver for ants?
I mean, it's just kind of a layup for this technology discussion, though, of like, well, yeah of course, like go back to 460 cc's after hitting one of those, and I've continued. This goes in a special folder that I have on the desktop of all the evidence of like, yeah, something needs to be done here. Every time they bust out one of the persimmons and do this challenge as well, it's just very obvious to me. But
I was disappointed in Tommy. He got, I think he topped a couple or had a couple bad swings, and then he got almost 250 yards. Big shot Bob, not big driver Bob. He 190.
I think he did that right-handed. I did not see the whole thing, but I heard that he did that right-handed.
That's actually really impressive.
Right. So I just wanted to save your boy there. Elvis Smiley, not sure what happened, but 11.6 yards did indeed get him to
honestly, like,
21st
props
place.
to these guys for doing it.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many guys in the PGA Tour that would have been like, no, this is outrageous. Like, why would I do this? It's going to mess up my swing for the rest of the season. Like, you know,
so
I need to talk
guys,
to my agent.
Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Gonna mess up my swing for the rest of the season. I mean,
yeah, I stand by it.
I mean, some guys would have definitely skipped it. I don't know if it would have been because it's going to mess up my swing for the rest of the season. It'd be a good training aid, if anything. I mean, if you can hit that one, you got to be able to hit the big boy driver.
It was like the God, what was it? There was the Medicus that you didn't really have balls with that one, and then there's a small putter that you can use, like one of those tiny little, almost center shafted putters that you can use to really work on your. But yeah, I love that stuff. I think it's cool.
Well, if you listen to Dr. Sasha McKenzie, he would tell you it doesn't matter where on the face you hit it. So that tiny putter one, I don't think is going to be. Maybe we need to look at putter technology next. That's interesting.
Oh, there was a big thing. If you want to get into that now, we could even. David Dusek had a big thing this week in Golf Week about just the demise of the blade putter on tour. I think the top 10 guys in the world all use mallets at this point. And Solly, I've been using a mallet putting really well for the last like 3 or 4 months. And then I went up to Tree Farm end of this past week into the weekend, and the greens were really fast, and I putted horribly with the mallet. I just felt like I didn't have any touch. And then I went back to the blade, and I was great again. It was bizarre. So I'm kind of like between the mallets, but also the zero torque, the lab putters. I think Scotty just came out with a zero torque version as well. I know TaylorMade's got one too now. Like there's very much, it just seems like the genie's not going back in the bottle as far as the putters go. Like these guys, there's definitely something scientific there from an alignment and like kind of raising your floor. Uh, kind of just fact there, right?
Well, that's where I'm again doing some of the prep to talk to Sasha about putting. I read some of his actual research work, like the real research stuff that makes your head spin, like the n plus x equals x cubed squared, all that. Like I was just like, oh my god. So when I stand up, I'm like, yeah, I'm just more of a field putter, man. You're like, you kind of read that and you're like, oh, okay, you just actually have no idea of the actual technology that goes into this. But if I'm summarizing it, the basic conclusion is just like, you are more likely to leave a toe hang putter open, like through impact, right? And some of the more technology that you add into it helps you keep the face closed during rotation, which is obvious to a lot of people. But that to me was just like, to see the data behind like all of that happening is, I think there's something to this too, man. Like where I don't think we are always watching the best putters in the world anymore, especially with all of the information that's out there about ball striking, about hitting it far. Like I think we're watching the best putters of the best ball strikers, and relatively speaking to their peers, these guys can use all the technology and the help that they possibly can, and the technology and the help is clearly more in the mallet than it is in the blade. And that's just probably where things are going to probably continue to trend, I would think. I mean, even Tiger into his later years with the blade, he's the one that made the blade famous. I'm sure he probably, he didn't make the blade famous, but I'm sure his influence it impacted us as
Deuce
kids.
talks a lot about that. He's like, yeah, the most famous putter of all time. Tiger's Scotty Cameron Newport, like, and just the stark decline in how many classic style blade putters are being sold to recreational golfers at this point too.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, look at what, I don't think it's as simple as snapping your fingers, but I mean, Rory switches to a mallet, becomes a much better putter, says out loud, Scotty should switch to a mallet, and Scotty becomes even more next level player. Like there's obviously something to it. I'm in kind of a hybrid now. I use the Studio Fastback, and I've loved it on fast greens. To your point, I have not putted as well on slower greens because it's got an insert and it just kind of, which I like, and it kind of softens impact a little bit. But to your point, there could be something to the blade for your feels on faster greens that makes sense, and the mallet makes sense on slower greens. So
yeah, it's fast Bermuda probably rolling 12 and a half, 13, and especially on the long lag putts, when you're on the green, and then the 10 to 12 footers that are a little bit downhill, or they're more of a feeler. Like I know it sounds like I'm saying I'm a field player, but even alignment wise, I just straight back and straight through on those, where I just feel like the ball, I just have more control over the ball coming off the face on that one versus say on the kind of the phantom, the phantom mallet. It's just heavier.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I guess I hadn't really thought of the trend as much until I read that article of how much it really. I didn't realize the top 10 players in the world all used a mallet, but
yeah. And Jason Day is kind of the the one that, like, going back to really getting people's attention a lot when he started using that spider. Like that seems like kind of everything's traced back to that, as far as, because like I'm not sure what you would consider the Odyssey 2 ball or that sort of thing back, in the mid 2000s.
Well, yeah, that's been there, but I like Day being like the best putter on tour with a mallet, like the best putter on tour having a mallet was a new thing, newish thing around the day period. But yeah, Dustin Johnson became, when he was one of the best players in the world, if not world number one, using the mallet. So interesting article. I appreciated that one. Before we get into the Butterfield, fall golf is here. You already know it. Rhoback, our go-to for polos, hoodies, joggers, pants, all of it. It's best fit, best feel. Simple as that. The Rhoback Delta pants are our favorite pants. They got stretch elastic waistbands. It's a game changer. Gives you extra room for added comfort. It maintains the best fit possible. It's smooth, wrinkle resistant, easy to pack. You roll it right out of your suitcase and you can wear it right onto the golf course. They're comfortable to wear. The Rhoback Fulton vest, I went and found it tonight, TC, because I've been talking about this thing so much.
I got it on
Absolutely love
too,
this thing.
Soly.
You got it on as well. I just love how they do the accents on all these, like the white zipper here with the sharp blue vest. I freaking love Rhoback, man. It's got a nice light insulation to keep you warm, but it's not too bulky. It's got interior and exterior pockets. Great layering piece as we still hit the course here into the fall, despite the temperature dropping. You already know about the Rhoback Hezi hoodie. So dang soft. There is just no better feeling than wearing a Rhoback hoodie fresh out of the package. As we get into fall, head to Rhoback.com. That's RHOBACK.com. Use code NLU at checkout for 20% off your first order through the end of this week. Pants, hoodies, vest, Rhoback has got you covered. Dude, the Butterfield today, man. It was freaking awesome. Awesome conclusion. Like, awesome. I encourage anyone listening to this, go back and watch all the PGA Tour social clips, highlights from Adam Shank's round. I don't know if his hands got above his waist on a follow through the entire back nine. I mean, that dude was just going through it. 30, 40 mile an hour winds. He was putting one-handed at one point this week. He wins it by one over Chandler Phillips. I was kind of doing a couple other things, and we all kind of hovered around the TV when he got to 17. Par 5. I don't know exactly how far he had in, but he could have got there. And the wind is just absolutely whipping. It's down and a little bit out, mostly off the right, but a little bit down. And I couldn't figure out what he was going to do. And he ends up like laying up from the fairway. And I do not think this ball got more than 10 feet off the ground. I mean, he hits just this. And I thought he topped it when he hit it, because I didn't have the sound all the way on. And they don't have shot link down there, so I don't know what the actual distances were. But he just was hitting these abbreviated, like trying to survive, get the runner over shots all over the golf course. And he goes on and wins it by one. It was riveting television, man. The Butterfield continues to slap. I don't know how.
It was good all week. First of all, up there, Soly, they're north of us, northeast of us, kind of off the coast of the Carolinas there. But yeah, it's like it was windy. It's a weird golf course. It's got all sorts of interesting hills and ups and downs. Interesting leaderboard too. There was a big wave split between kind of the AM and PM guys. They sent them off super early on Saturday and Sunday. But Shank putting left-handed, and I was reading about Adam Stanley had a piece on PGA Tour.
One-handed, just not left-handed.
Or sorry, putting one-handed, and Adam Stanley had a piece on PGA Tour.com about how he hasn't had a great year, and he was in the hotel room, and he was just kind of messing around putting one-handed, and it was breaking towards the ocean in the hotel room, like one direction. And so he had like multiple breaks in his hotel room. So he's kind of testing it out, and he's like, man, this is like, I think I'm just gonna do this. But then like it got too windy for him to keep doing it one-handed. So he was putting his other hand just on the very, very top, barely touching the club to kind of mimic the sensation, but stabilize the putter a little bit more. It's really fascinating. I mean, Shank had an awesome season. What was that, 2 years ago? Almost won the Valspar. It was at a crazy playoff or crazy finish to the Valspar a couple of years ago. And then he had a couple other like really good top fives that year. I think he played well with the players too. And then ended up, had kind of downturn last year and then not a great season at all this year. And here he is. So like the fall, yes, that's what the fall series should be, is the Black Desert and the Butterfield, and no offense to the Sanderson, or like I want weird places with either striking vistas or crazy conditions.
And this has both of those. I mean, some of the views there you get. I mean, the finish is just really, really good. It's not the top names. It's not like appointment television on Friday, but it sneaks up on you every time, man. It almost always gives you a really interesting, good finish. And watching guys try to execute shots in that wind. At one point, Shank hit a 5-iron from 130. They caught all the audio, too, of his entire conversation with his caddy. And they're like, I don't think 6 is getting there. Pulls 5, still didn't get it there from 130. And it's just, that's golf, man. Watching Chandler Phillips and Max McGreevy were in the fairway bunker on 18, trying to, if Phillips could have made birdie, it would have put him into a playoff, a tie into the playoff. And just watching them try to execute shots out of that with the wind absolutely howling off the left. It's Takumi Kanaya was over there as well. He blows
you.
it right of the green. He great week for your boy. He moved up 21 spots as well to 99th inside the bubble, looking to keep his card there. But it's just that's golf, man. That's really I wish I didn't know they moved up tee times, and I flipped it on way too late, and I missed a lot of it. I had to catch up on it. But it was, we turned the football off for a while, and everybody in the house was watching the golf. It was good.
I just don't understand. I still don't understand how this tournament works as a business proposition. With it's $1 million for, it's $1,080,000 to first place. It's still a big purse.
Yeah.
I just don't know how they're funding that. Or I know that some of it's, it's some of it's Butterfield, some of it's tourism dollars, all of that. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'm glad it exists though.
What is Butterfield? It's a bank?
Oh, I'm sure it's a bank or insurance.
Financial services company founded and headquartered in Bermuda.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a tourism play there.
There's a tax shelter play there.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a good tournament. It really is. Again, doesn't have the big names, but I laugh at it every time it's Butterfield Bermuda week, and it feels like it's going to be one of the worst weeks of the year, and it just never is, man. There's always something.
I would argue it's top half of the year.
Definitely one of the tops of the fall series. Dude, the fall series doesn't have many weaknesses.
There's not a lot of clunkers.
There's really not. What's the lowest of the low of the fall series?
Let's see here.
And again, we're grading on a different scale here, of course. Yeah. Like, it's obviously, we don't have like the top 50 players in the world playing in a lot of these. So
I would say the one last week, or the one last week, the Diamante Cabo one.
For sure.
That course sucks.
Yeah. Worldwide Technologies.
Not asking any sort of interesting question of anyone. Yokohama was awesome. The Bay Current one in Japan this year. That was a new course for him. Sanderson's, I feel bad shitting on Sanderson. I think it was that was actually a pretty interesting tournament to watch this year. But, Mississippi in early October is just not what we were talking about as far as vistas and conditions. And then the Pro Tour is always fine. It's a good start to the slate. I don't know. I'd love to see him go to, I know it's crazy short. I know it's 6,400 yards, but go play mid-ocean too. Make it a split wave thing.
They love doing that. Having two course logistics is something the PGA Tour loves doing. But there is going to be another addition to the fall series next year. In addition to the Good Championship, the Biltmore Championship has been added at the Cliffs at Walnut Cove. This will be the week before the President's Cup next year. So interesting in this kind of period of hey, we need to shrink the schedule. We need less tournaments. That we know of now, two tournaments that will be added to the fall series next year.
Yeah, I think it's a Nicklaus course. Happy for Asheville and just Western North Carolina generally to get kind of a tourism win there and a nice feather in their cap following big storms last year. Was that last year or 2 years ago? Just 1 year. Yeah, it was last year. Yeah, and for that matter, it should be pretty spectacular as far as it's September 17th through 20th, maybe a little bit early for leaf peeping and such, but yeah, I think I'm all for more golf in the Carolinas, just generally speaking.
They join, I read this in the golf.com article, they're joining California, Texas, and Florida as the only states with 3 annual tour events. It's a 4-year agreement as well between the Biltmore State agreement with the Biltmore State and Explore Asheville. We'll look forward to that. On the LPGA Tour, Lynn Grant cruises to a 3-shot win over Jennifer Kupcho at, gosh, I've tried to memorize the name of this tournament. It's got way too many.
Yeah, it's the Annika driven by Gainbridge at Pelican.
We should do a draft of the most ridiculous names of tournaments, and that's going to get drafted in the top 5, I think. Final round 60. She bogeyed 18, 3-putted 18 as well to shoot a final round 65 to win by 3. Shot rounds of 68, 63, 65, 65. It's her second LPGA Tour win. I love watching her putt, man. Her putting stroke, I was catching up on the highlights and I kept rewinding her putting stroke of just, it's like what are those things called where you the
Pendulum?
balls that you put on the desk where you hit one of them and the other one pops out the end. That's the image I have in my head of just like the tempo that she has through the ball. It's so freaking good.
Newton's Cradle.
That's it. Newton's Cradle. It's big in the 90s. That was a huge thing. Second LPGA Tour win. You've been hyping this girl for a long, long time.
I had to step off the hype.
You had to back off.
Yeah. It was, I think now she's into post-hype sleeper. She's kind of like a Sam Darnold type of.
I like that.
Like maybe a Vanilla Vic, Daniel Jones type of just didn't have the success we were anticipating, but now it's happening. Also, just not very consistent either.
She's still only 26, but when she does play well, she just blows fields away. Like she absolutely, it's not like, what was the mixed event that she won by like 7 shots or something?
Scandinavian mixed, yeah.
Yeah, she won that one by 9 shots in 2022.
She won it by so many. Or I guess they got rid of it after last year, 2 years ago. I was going to say she won it by so many, they just ended the event.
She won it again in 2024. Only won that one by 1 stroke, but
I think that was the last iteration too.
That ended the tournament. A couple other notes. Natalia Guseva holed out from 109 yards on the last hole to shoot 68 to move into the top 60 for the CME Championship this week. Lucy Lee also shot a 66 to move up 13 spots to number 58. Brooke Matthews made a hole-in-one to win a Lamborghini and advance to the Tour Championship. It was sick. It was electric. It absolutely whipped in from the left. And then, the winner next week at the CME Tour Championship gets a $4 million paycheck. And it's every woman for herself. There is no staggered points. There's nothing. It is 60 people. Winner take all for $4 million next week.
What do you think Nelly is at heading into the finals?
13th?
9th.
Okay. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What are your?
Then I saw Jennifer Capucho won the Aon Risk Reward Challenge too.
Oh, I missed that.
$1 million there. Yeah.
She finished second place this week as well. What are your thoughts on the sponsor exemption that was dominating the timelines this past week?
I thought she played better than I thought she was going to.
A lot better, especially round 2. Kai Trump shot 83.75. She did finish last, and she finished plus 18. The next worst was plus 12.
Yeah. I don't know. I've like, I don't know if I'm getting older. I'm getting less angry. I struggle to get really upset about sponsor exemptions anymore.
That is new for you. I don't know what to say about this. I'm kind of sad about this.
I was getting mad at the ones that were more like they're messing with the integrity of the season-long race, right? It'd be one thing if they were bringing someone in that was 135th, and because I think Annika chose Wake Forest, either junior or senior, who won her collegiate event. The Gainbridge chose someone else, and then the club, the Doyle family in the club chose Kai Trump. And listen, it generated a ton of publicity. Not all of it good. Caitlin Clark was there again, but I don't think it's the kind of thing that the LPGA needs to be doing. It's not the kind of publicity that they need. They need, kind of long-lasting eyeballs and
which it wasn't to your point where you're saying it wasn't the LPGA
Exactly.
that did this, right?
Exactly.
So
yeah. So it's kind of it's tough to get this is one of the better capitalized events on tour. I think it's like the 4th or 5th largest purse outside of the majors on the LPGA Tour. It's just tough when it's the second to last event and they're trying to make it into one of their version of like a signature event, similar to how the Founders was, or and it's ladies scratching and clawing to get into the CME Tour Championship, and you've got kind of a sideshow going on. I don't think that's great for things, but at the end of the day, I also I don't a lot of people that were complaining about it, haven't watched the LPGA all season either. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I have a foot in a couple camps with this. I was checking scores Thursday, Friday more than I would normally, right? And I followed the LPGA, I would say, relatively closely. So that's hard to argue that that's not a positive thing, but it is hollow, right? It just feels like it is done for the wrong reasons. I don't even mean politically. I just mean like I saw way too many stats on Twitter about how impressions were up and all of the slideshow stuff that just makes me cringe because I know it is a sideshow. It's not. It's all up not because of the LPGA Tour product for any reason. It's up because of turning it into a bit of a circus. And I honestly, truly mean nothing politically about that. Like it's
stick to sports, Soly, right?
Never mind that it's the same people that say stick to sports are the ones celebrating this the most. But it just like she's not a for those who don't follow it closely, she's not a top like high school player. She's not a top AJGA
she's not in
player.
the top like 1,400 in the world amateur golf rankings.
So is there is like I am pro Steph Curry playing these events. I'm pro Tony Romo. I think it's interesting to watch like top pro athletes in other sports that are really good at golf, like try to compete on that stage and give a reference to how good the real players are. This one was just a tough one, man. 18 years old and just has a massive social media platform and does YouTube golf and all of that. But like, it felt off, man. It felt really off. And it felt like it needs to be called that and said that before the LPGA like turns into more of that. Right. Because it just gave me weird feelings all week. Yeah. I don't know.
Which it detracted from the news of the week, in my opinion.
Massive.
I was off the grid. Meg Atkins actually texted me. She was like, "This is unbelievable. We did it." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And sure enough, she was like, "They're not going back to Carlton Woods. They're going to Memorial Park."
The Chevron Championship, for those that did not hear, is headed to Memorial Park and away from Carlton Woods. We have had it's been quite frustrating in the last several years since it moved away from Mission Hills out in California to this random golf course outside Houston that does not get the support. And people in the media are just supposed to treat this event like it's a major and just kind of nod and play along. And every time, every single hole on the broadcast, they have to remind you that this is a major championship because none of it feels major when you're actually in the moment.
None of it feels majors. And B, you can't hear the audio over the leaf blowers in the background. Like the landscaping crews just doing their weekend maintenance on all the yards in this subdivision.
We got so many upset messages from Carlton Woods members. The community doesn't really even come out. Like the Houston community doesn't come out to support the event because it's so far away, and the average it was bad. It was really bad. And now it's leaving, and it's next year. Like next year, the Chevron is being held at Memorial Park. When I saw the announcement, I'm like, oh, it must be 2027 thing. It's like, no, it is going there in 2026. A golf course that we really like, kind of piggybacking a little bit off the Texas Children's Hospital, whatever. I never remember the name of that tournament as well, but the PGA Tour event that's been there in the fall as well. It's a big
event now. The tour event's a spring event now.
It is. It was around the Masters now, but it's now going to be held April 23rd through 26th, and that's it's a month after the Houston Open at Memorial Park. That is what it is. Texas Children's Houston Open at Memorial Park. So they're having two tournaments there in the span of a little over a month. But I just imagine we're going to get so much more community support at a place like that than some random suburb like Carlton Woods was. And this is a great big development for the mea culpa we've given for the Evian. And now that us being pro Evian, we might have to celebrate that there's 5 majors now if this slaps. And you have predicted that this golf course will slap. That was one of your predictions going into the year, I think, this past year. So I would imagine you're going to be in major support of this one.
It does. I think it'll slap more for the women than it does for the men, even too. Obviously, a Brooks Koepka co-design with Tom Doak, and now if we could just get him not to overseed, that would be even better.
That seems extremely unlikely with 2 tournaments being played there in the spring, but
but just props to props to new LPGA commissioner Craig Kessler for getting this done, for just doing what was right for the product, doing
Yes.
what was right for the tournament, and then building out from there. Of like, all right, let's get the tournament right, let's get the venue right, and then we can figure everything else out from there. Whereas before, it just felt like, all right, this is like really this is the best we can do, and it's not going to get any better for the next few years. And so to be able to renegotiate stuff and break contracts and get Chevron, to kind of see the light here, awesome. It's like a just a hopefully a sign of things to come with certain things on the LPGA tour as well as PGA tour just generally too. Like just golf in general. Like there's traditions that matter and that are worth safeguarding, and I think there's stuff that's worth breaking and trying new stuff on. I think this was one of certainly in that bucket of, hey, let's break this and try something new.
Yeah, it kind of seems like Carlton Woods was that meme from Billy Madison where Steve Buscemi's crossing names off the list of people to kill. We can cross off Carlton Woods now.
Yeah.
We got to get Valhalla crossed off there in perpetuity as well for majors. Belle Reve, I think we've got to get crossed off in terms of major championships as well. We are going to Belle Reve next year with the BMW Championship.
It's fine for just like
fine.
Quail Hollow. It's
Totally
fine for
PGA
a tour event.
Just not a major. It's something
Yeah.
that has to be different. So moving on, let's give a shout out to our friends at SoFi, the ultimate finance app, for sponsoring today's SoFi Get Your Money Right moment. Go to SoFi.com/NLU to learn more about how you can get your money right with SoFi Plus. I'm taking this one this week. It was an article from Josh Carpenter, the Sports Business Journal. PGA Tour, their 990, their financials statements are released. Their tax filings, if you will. PGA Tour commissioners Jay Monahan's total compensation in 2024 was more than $19 million, according to the tour's annual tax return that was filed this week. Also, Ron Price, the tour's COO, who announced his decision to retire nearly a year ago, had the tour's second highest compensation in 2024 with $13.2 million reported on the tax return.
Captain Ron. I think that's just Jay chipping him off for going and speaking in front of Congress a couple of years ago while he was out in Steamboat. And then Ty Votah is still on there. Ty Votah hasn't worked there in a few years. He's still pulling down 150 grand a year in retirement.
We did get to
aside from his that's just a straight payout aside from his retirement pension contributions.
There are notes as well that support the executive compensation. It just notes that the commissioner's compensation, as well as Ron Price's compensation, is determined by the Management Development and Compensation Committee of the PGA Tour Policy Board. The committee utilizes an independent compensation consultant to advise them in determining the appropriate amount of compensation for the commissioner based on the competitive market. As you'll note, a substantial portion of the commissioner's annual compensation, approximately 86% of it, is at risk and is subject to his performance against objectives established by the Management Development and Compensation Committee.
It's an interesting read. Like every year, I probably spent 45 minutes reading through it this afternoon. Looking at all the different charities that receive money from the tour and the various tournaments, and just how it was from a like they list out, who the recipients of the biggest checks from a non-charitable perspective. And number one was NBC for services rendered. NBC Universal. Again, this is 2024, so this is pre spin-off as well of Golf Channel and Versant and all of that stuff. But number two was Scotty Scheffler. It's like 68 million or something like that. So I mean, he's almost up in, and then interestingly, I didn't see CBS in there, which I'm assuming that's just because CBS's stuff is underpinned through the actual events themselves. They're running that stuff through those events, and then most of the stuff that the PGA Tour is paying NBC, now Versant for is Corn Ferry Tour coverage and some of the lower level PGA Tour events or Thursday, Friday stuff that's more built into the actual media deal from a umbrella standpoint instead of, hey, we're CBS and we're getting Saturday, Sunday of these particular events, and we will sell against those ourselves.
Tiger listed as so all the player directors on the policy board are listed there in their compensation as well. I'm still trying to figure out how he made. I think it's $28 million from the tour.
Yeah.
I know he won the PIP, but that's one of those that sticks. I mean, there's got to be, these things are not done willy nilly. They're not just handing Tiger money under the table. But it's just all interesting to read all that spelled out as well. There was a lot going around on the Everything app from some of the smartest people you'll ever read about the tour losing $500 million because there was a change in structure, of course, in the tour in 2024, which makes the revenue amount on their tax filings is presented differently than it was in 2023. The revenue in 2024 showed $760 million, which is a drop from $1.82 billion in 2023. But due to the change in structure, as I understand it, and again, this is the auditor in me speaking, and I have not audited these financial statements, but usually there's a massive explanation written out in an act. If this was a public company, this would be listed out with like, here's why there's this difference. And it is undoubtedly because the revenue is being recognized differently and being represented at the profit level of the PGA Tour and not at the 501c6. So these financial statements, this 990 is representing only occurrences at the 501c6 level. The expenses dropped from $1.89 billion to $1.21 billion. I cannot explain why the expenses are so much higher at the 501c6 level, but the tour, only thing I know to be true, just based on common sense, is the tour did not lose $500 million this last year.
That's and a lot of the various salaries for key executives, key personnel, a lot of the VPs they list, it looks like they've moved a lot of those, especially all the, PGA Tour entertainment, all like a ton of those salaries over to the enterprises arm. So, Sally, from a future looking perspective, are we going to get less information from the tour with this move to a for-profit? Like, will they need to, be as transparent because they're not filing as a 501c6 at the enterprise level?
I don't know the answer to that. My gut is to say that we will not be seeing financial statements for the enterprise level. I could be wrong there, but I'm sure we'll get sprinkles of stuff over time. But I can dive into that this fall and get an answer for you on that. But I would think it's probably fair to say that we will not be getting as much public information as possible. But
it's also just fascinating to see kind of how they structure, the offices in Europe which are mostly licensing based, or the offices in, like they no longer have the Malaysia event. So the offices in East Asia, or seeing that line item for, I think it's just under or just over $2 billion in kind of securities and retirement plan stuff in the pension. It's a pretty substantial chunk of change there.
Well, again, I got this from one of the leading financial minds on the Everything app. At Phil Mickelson did weigh in as well to say assets totaling $3.8 billion, but sold to SSG based on $12.5 billion valuation. I wonder where the other $8.7 billion is that was factored in. Just kidding. That was rhetorical. I already know. Which, as we all know, just your straight asset value, that is the value of your company, right? There's no projected growth of any company ever. All companies do is sell for the exact valuation of all the assets that you hold. So, anyways, that's from the investor that brought you Sable Offshore. Hey, wait, shouldn't he be saying that it should be worth? He said it's worth, assets are $3.8 billion, but there is the other $20 billion in NFTs that they never cashed in on. So, if anything, they sold it at a discount because they should have $23.8 billion in assets there.
I think it'll be interesting to see what happens too moving forward if they can nest all of Jay's golden parachute stuff into the enterprise stuff, or because they did list all of the payments that various officers were getting, whether they were from enterprises or from the 501c6. which was interesting. Like, basically to say, all right, here was their total compensation, and we put fair market value on, personal use of the jets and all that stuff as well. But
Yeah.
I'll be very curious. Like 2025 should still be a pretty representative look at things, and then I imagine 2026 and onward will be much more of a black box.
And it is, I mean, it is, I guess I hate to rush to defend this as well, but like the footnote there is interesting of like there's an executive a compensation committee that's agreed on with the policy board, right? And basically says like, yes, Jay made a ton of money in 2024. I think it's well documented. We are not of the opinion that Jay navigated this nightmare very well over the last several years, and it's been made apparent that he's being replaced here. But a lot of players made a lot of money, and that's essentially where the executives are also going to make a lot of money, right? That's where these two things have been at odds for quite some time of like, is what brings us the best product and entertains us most as fans going to be what the players want and what the executives want? No. And that's probably why things have looked the way they have for quite some time, because fans have been left on the outside as everybody else around us gets rich and they run a million commercials and blah, 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 blah. And that's the explanation for why the money's so big. I mean, they're incentivized to follow one thing, to create as many playing opportunities as possible, chase as many dollars as possible, and they got them in the door and got the players paid and got themselves paid. It's
I would argue Jay was pretty grossly overpaid for relative to other sports leagues at how much those are valued at, like Adam Silver's compensation versus Jay's. And I would argue that the number 2 at the PGA Tour, Ron Price, I know some of this was just bonuses going out the door, but holy shit, $13 million for Ron
so
Price.
much money
For the number 2. Like, that's insane. And I think I would be furious if I was.
It is. The total amounts are insane, but it is an agreed upon structure that they have in place. And I don't know, we don't know the details of what that is, but like it is independently managed and consulted on, and it's agreed upon. If blah, blah, blah is met, then this means blah, blah, blah comes in the door. And it is, the majority of their compensation is based on that, is what the important, is the total outrageous? It totally is, for somebody that essentially lost their job to make $20 million. It's incredible.
And some of the, like total compensation over his time period at the tour will be probably upwards of 180, $200 million once it's all said and done, which is crazy. But I also don't think we should act like the players felt like they had a great sense of or control over the policy board, right? Because the policy board is the players as well as the independent directors. And I think the players were unhappy that they felt like, oh, you know what, like these guys aren't necessarily representing our interests for a while there. So we'll see what happens moving forward. It's gonna be interesting.
I believe it's estimated that the information we have, the PGA Tour did take a loss in 2024, but it was about half the size of the loss that it took in 2023, which I think was around 62 million. So somewhere around 30, 31 million-ish range is the loss, which that was a lot bigger of an issue before they had SSG funding, I think. I mean, they do not have a blank check to just go do whatever they want, but to give away as much money as they have in past years, to have this executive payment structure as it is, and to have only suffered a small loss still represents that the PGA Tour is in strong financial shape.
And I think
I saw it, TC. I saw people comparing it to Live losing $500 million a year this past. I saw it on the Everything app, and I don't spend much time on there anymore, but it does remind you that stuff does exist. And it is. I respect the people that are still out there doing it, man. They are definitely doing it.
I've also heard that the Champions Tour, aka the Olds, are not losing money. Like they're pretty much, I don't know if they're breaking even, but they're not just a complete hole in the bucket. And they're, and that the tour is able to devote more resources to the Corn Ferry Tour, as far as, that's a money losing proposition, but that's an investment in the product and in the future. Whereas the Olds are, they're kind of doing their own thing, but they're paying for it, out of their own bucket, which
they don't want any handouts out there.
It's just great. Also, congrats to Stu Sink on that note for winning. He's the 2025 champion of the Olds out at Phoenix Country Club today. Beat Stephen Alker, who kind of bobbled it down the stretch.
Thanks again to our friends at SoFi, the all-in-one finance app, for sponsoring this week's Get Your Money Right segment. You can go to SoFi.com/NLU to learn more about how you can get your money right with SoFi Plus. If you want to nominate someone for your Get Your Money Right segment in the future, let us know in the comments. This one was a bit of a bummer. Justin Thomas undergoes back surgery. Said he'd be dealing with nagging hip pain that had gotten worse in his time off, presumably since he had competed in the 2025 Ryder Cup on Thursday. Went successful microdissectomy, which is described as a procedure to remove a bulging or damaged disc in the lower spine. He did not have a timetable for his return, would not say what the official, first event back would be. Does not sound like we will see him anytime soon in the next several months, but I had no idea that this was looming. I don't think a lot of people in the industry knew that this was happening, but obviously a bummer for JT, and could help explain some of kind of his fall off in the second half of the year. I think he started the year so strong, looked like he was back to the JT levels that we had known for almost a decade there, and tough setback.
For sure. Yeah. Microdissectomy, it's just kind of they're just kind of shaving off certain stuff on your vertebrae, right?
You're asking the wrong guy. Maybe I should know this because maybe that's what I need. But yeah, it's not good. I know Cats had like 85 of them, and that doesn't lead to has not led us down a very good path.
It's a minimally invasive surgery used to remove a herniated disc that is pressing on a nerve, performed through a small incision using an operating microscope. Huh. They were big in the NBA for a while, too.
I just don't think if you'd asked us, I don't know how many years ago, we'd be this world where we have such uncertainty with both Spieth and JT from a health perspective, really, as we flip over into a new year. Guys are not old. They're not old. They're in their young 30s, and it's a bummer. You want to take us through some other news and notes?
Yeah, I said Adam Schupak. I think he's responsible for 2 to 3 interviews a week that are he's the most productive man in all of golf. He did an interview in Golf Week with Wyndham Clark, who the headline is ready to put shitty or pretty shitty 2025 season behind him. He had some stuff talking about the Oakmont stuff. He said what happened in the U.S. Open was a kick in the face to say, hey, wake up, let's get back to who I am. It didn't take long for this season to go into a wrong direction, find himself in what he called a bad, dark place. I started spiraling a little bit mentally and my swing got off. You're searching for stuff, trying something different each week. I got to a place where kind of your score is everything. Your score you put up next to your name is you're defined by that. So I don't know. Good to see him kind of looking in the mirror and taking responsibility and stuff. I don't think, he said, I did something I regret. I brought it upon myself. Any negative press was self-induced and probably deserved. It's a bummer that people don't understand the circumstances and whatnot, but at the same time, I had to own up to it. It was a great reminder for the rest of the year that, hey, I screwed up. I learned a lot, and it got me back to who Wyndham Clark is. So we'll see if he can.
Still just laced a little bit in it's a bummer people don't really know what happened. And
the circumstances are like, yo, you just destroyed a locker. And I've heard that they're not going to repair the locker, that it's going to be like a forever monument to just don't do that kind of stuff. And that the club plans on being extremely committed and hardline of not allowing him back during the final year of his exemption. Was that 2033, I think?
That sounds right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, just, glad to see a little bit of self-reflection, but yeah, the whole circumstances thing, man, just own it. So, I also saw Bruce Hepler is retiring. I think this broke about a week and a half ago, but I totally missed it. Bruce Hepler, the longtime golf coach at Georgia Tech, is retiring at the end of this season. He's been there 31 years. He's had 73 tournament wins, 25 All-Americans, 14 ACC titles, 27 straight NCAA regional appearances, 22 trips to the NCAA championship, and 5 national runner-up finishes.
Jeez.
This is per Ryan Harrington in Golf Digest. And he's like, I think the coolest thing, he's had a bunch of USAM winners as well. I think he's had like more than anybody. I think he did a couple years at Oklahoma State and then went to Georgia Tech. But I say all this, I went to Georgia Tech golf camp for a couple years growing up, and and when I think the second year that I went to Georgia Tech golf camp, my grandpa died when I was at Tech golf camp, and like my parents like called him and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna come pick up Todd. He's his grandfather who passed like who got him into golf in the first place passed away." And I just remember then like him kind of coming to my room at the dorms and telling me, but just I don't know, like being a really just compassionate, like, he was just there for me in kind of a tough
Wow.
25 minutes, and waiting a few hours for my parents to come get me. And then we were driving straight up to Ohio. But yeah, I'll always remember that. And based on everything I've heard about the guy since then, he's a good man. And I wish him well in retirement and good luck here over the next 5 to 6 months before his last rodeo here at the NCAA's in May. So,
Wow. That's a great note. I had no idea.
yeah, I kind of saw that and I was like, yeah, oh, I remember him. I hadn't really thought about that for a long time. So, and then yeah, a couple just golf course architecture and development notes. I'm not sure if you've seen anything on Cape Cod Country Club.
Yeah.
Devereaux Emmett. There's scheduled to be a vote tomorrow, um, with regard to local and regional government down on Cape Cod. The family that owns it wants to turn it into a solar farm, I believe, and it's a well run golf course in great shape, and I assume pretty profitable. But and they've already done this, I guess, to a couple other golf courses that they owned. So hopefully that vote is a nay vote, and that's that kind of public resource treasure out on the Cape. I've only played it once, but gets gets preserved for future generations. Not a lot of great public golf out on the Cape. Other there's and the Cape's pretty big too. That one's kind of like midway out there. And then I saw Gil Hance. This was courtesy of Garrett Morrison. Gil Hance is coming on as the consulting architect at North Berwick, which thought was interesting. I know Clyde Johnson's been doing stuff for them. It sounded like most of it was due to coastal erosion and kind of
Mm.
getting a handle on that stuff out, 10, 11, 12, like those green sites there on the way back in. And they've had some big storms here the last few years. And then I saw Tiger. There was a story that Tiger is potentially getting involved with the National Links Trust, the Langston course, which will be the second one that they develop or redevelop after Rock Creek Golf. I think Rock Creek is they're pretty far along, with the plans for that one. And then there's been all sorts of stuff with uh, like demolition materials getting deposited at East Potomac Golf Links from
Oh,
the east
yeah.
wing of the White House the last month or two. But yeah, so Doak's supposed to do East Potomac. Bo Welling is the connection at Langston, and I assume Tiger's going to help him with it. And then Gil is doing Rock Creek as well. So that was all good news. Good to see him involved there. And yeah, just a lot going on in the world of golf right now, from an architecture and development standpoint.
Well, speaking of which, we made our way up to Southeast Georgia. One of many trips we're going to be making to Southeast Georgia here over the next couple of months, but been following this project relatively closely. The Great Dunes course at Jekyll Island Golf Club. If you're unfamiliar with Jekyll Island, it is nearby to St. Simon's Island, which is, of course, where Sea Island is and where the RSM Classic is this upcoming week. We filmed a video out there. This video will be coming out. I don't know the exact timeline of when the video will be coming out, but expect full 18 holes we played a little match at the Great Dunes course. But tell us about what that course was, what it is now, and what your day was like out there.
Yeah. Gosh, I hadn't been to Jekyll in forever. Probably 5 or 6 years. There's a little Walter Travis 9-hole course up there, right in the dunes. Great Dunes is a very fitting name for it. And we had a couple junior or high school events down on Jekyll as well. It's like the whole island is kind of state owned, And so, development and any changes down there are pretty bureaucratic. Yeah, so it's kind of, I don't know, Great Dunes has always just been this little almost curiosity, novelty of a golf course. 9 holes, its own little clubhouse over there. Then there were two other courses, Pine Lakes, and I don't know what the name of the other one was. They're kind of coming out of a main clubhouse. Well, Jeff Stein and Brian Ross were enlisted to. I think they presented an awesome plan for the golf course of both rejuvenating and I would say reimagining Travis's original 9 holes there, and then kind of stealing 9 holes from one of the other existing courses, turning 9 back into just forested wetlands, and making a cohesive 18-hole course, out of those 27 holes that plays up into the dunes and is public, affordable, right next to the ocean. I mean, I was blown away. It was like I can't think of anything else on the East Coast that is even remotely similar, with the exception of maybe the Palm Beach par three. That's right on the Intracoastal, for 9 holes, right on the beach for the other 9 holes. But just I felt like I was at Pacific Grove in spots. I felt like I was at Spyglass in spots. I felt like I was um, at Cypress Point in spots. Some of the best dunes holes I've like some of the best par fives I've played all year. It's very early in the grow in. Like they've done it on a pretty tight timeline, and I was very, very, very impressed. And I know you were too.
Yeah, man. It's one thing. Like I feel like people assume, you live in Florida, like you play along the ocean all the time. Like, oh gosh, yeah, you must just have so much ocean golf. Like there is no ocean golf in this area, and I know this is in Georgia, but it's only an hour and a half up the road, and it kind of feels like it's still in Florida. But there is no, we kept trying to think of like, dude, we have to be missing a comp here, like a comparable venue, and we struggle to think of one. It's such an underdeveloped place in general. Like you stand up on the ninth tee, and several of those holes as you kind of make the turn. That's not literally the turn of 9 holes, but you get out all the way to this point after 8 and come back inwards, and you're just like looking out at the ocean, and there's no houses between the golf course and the ocean. There's just a road, and the sun hitting the dunes. You're playing on sandy soil, and just some really, really, really good golf holes. And again, we saw it quite early. The drone footage from our visit and some of our footage, like you will see patches in the fairway still where grass has struggled to grow in due to some rains or could be any number of factors. And like once you get on the ground, there was no playability issues at all. I mean, I think we said we were going to play it up just because there's some patchy spots there now, but I think we had to move one ball the entire day. Like it's early in the process, and it's still kind of stunned us in general. Like at this time next year, I think this place is going to be absolutely rocking. The greens are fantastic. They have paspalum greens, really cool tiers to them, quadrants to them. Some of the best centerline bunkers I've ever played. I mean, just multiple holes you get up there with big bunkers that just make you think of like, dude, that's exactly where I want to hit it. Now, how do I figure out my way around it? And the 4th hole is just spectacular. I mean, just a brilliant, brilliant par 3. It's like a 500 yard, par 5, like a 500 yard par 5, and a great bunker that you have to avoid off the tee. And then you hit up into this green that's protected by 2 different dunes perched up. Right. And then once you cross over that, you're looking out into the ocean, almost like for abandoned. Like it's just epic, man. I just looked it up, and you can book morning tee times at this golf course for $135, which that's not cheap by all golf standards, but for what you are getting out of this golf course, that is incredibly affordable golf. And I'm sure there's cheaper rates to be had at different times of the year and different times of the day as well. But man, it was awesome. And you can clearly tell the 9 holes that were a part of the original Travis course, and you can tell which ones are the kind of connector holes, but those holes were great in their own way. And I thought it was going to feel more tacked on and more unnatural, but the greens, I mean, we got to the 2nd hole at a front right pin with just this massive like Redan kicker in the front right of it. and you're just like, you're in the right center of the fairway, and you're like, gosh, this is the wrong spot. Like, this is just wrong. I need to be up the left to get to this. And it could have been a complete nothing hole and just a connector. And it made your break. It got you in a different mindset, like right from the jump, man. And I've been thinking about it a lot since we went up there, and I'm just like, I'm trying not to overreact to it as I tend to do to golf courses I like, but I want to make it back up there and play immediately. Some conditions, some real wind, a little bit of cool air up there. If you are within an hour of this place almost ever, I would recommend going out of your way to go play it. It was really, really fun.
Yeah, I think the second hole was an absolute standout for me. And yeah, same thing. Like felt like it was gonna feel either too cute or just taped together a little bit. And I liked some of the new holes as much as
Yeah.
some of the old holes. And yeah, it's like cool Hogsback dune going into
Oh
what was
yeah.
that, 8 or 9?
8. That was 8. This
Yeah.
par 5 that, I mean, the Hogs back. It's hard to describe this, but it's if you picture like the 13th hole at North Berwick, which is extreme version of this, but like it's the pit hole where you play on the other side of a wall. It's not literally like that. It's a par 5, but like there's this beam, like this berm, this massive like dune that runs alongside, like through nearish the green, but it separates out the hole essentially. So like you gotta, and the farther up you get towards the hole, like you could this beam could berm could kick your ball even harder away from it. Like you got to be really exacting with your shot, and you got to get over that with your second shot. And there's all this fairway to the left and short of it to play up that green, but you can't see anything with that shot from the fairway with your second shot. We had to work to try to find the pin, and they got the small little pins there. And I mean, I've seen Hogsback holes, but I've never seen one that had the Hogsback run in that exact spot, like that close to a green, and really divide it like that. It was just freaking cool.
And there's a cool little tunnel that goes through the dune up by the green. It's like very, very thoughtful. Yeah, I think it's I mean, I think a low key, like not secret, it's just like there's not a lot of great public golf in Georgia. Say like the stuff at Sea Island is technically public. That's resort golf. And if you're staying at the resort, like Seaside's awesome, Plantation's awesome. Like those are great courses. Those would be up there. The stuff at Reynolds Plantation's good. It's fine. The fields over in LaGrange is awesome. But otherwise, there's really not a whole lot of good stuff around Atlanta. I think this is already like a top 5 public course in the state of Georgia, in my opinion, just as far as interesting, thoughtful routing and like the potential of it is through the roof. And so, congratulations to everybody there. That like I can't imagine how difficult it is to get a project like this from concept to completion at the state level, at a state owned and operated property. And it's like the amount of red tape and regulations and
Hearing
conservations.
coastal stuff in general, like that's why this shit doesn't
Yeah,
get built anymore. And
yeah.
it, yeah, it was one of a kind, man. When we turned from 4 to 5, 5 is this little par 3 that runs alongside the road. That's not overly special, but it's just a really cool setting. And the wind was absolutely whipping. We got there. It's just like, dude, I don't know the last time I had hit a real golf shot like this. Like, hey, dude, this ain't about the number. It's about the shape. It's about the trajectory. It's about getting the right height on it. And it exposed me. I did not pass the test there, but it was just like it scratched something that you don't get scratched very often in this part of the world, man. So
Yeah.
I got a lot of questions about it. I posted a picture of it and got so many questions about it, what it's like. And I would say already excellent, and it's not at its peak yet. I mean, the greens aren't
It's been open
fast. And
2 months, right?
yeah,
Not
it's
even.
not going to be peak this winter, but it is 100% worth checking out already. Absolutely. And just know you're seeing it not in its final form. How about that the par 3, the third hole, the little saddle par 3 as well. Let's get back up there this winter, man. That was on our list of courses to check out this year, and I'm really glad we did. And I'm looking forward to people seeing the video. So
And honestly, if you go there, eat at the restaurant.
yeah,
That was one of the better golf course restaurants I've eaten at. It doesn't look like much. It's called Trebuzio's Grill. I had like local redfish and shrimp that was unbelievable. Sandwiches were great. Service was great. like a little hidden gem, man. I was blown away. So
we had 2 spinach artichoke dips because they were so good. It was a great little day trip. So
yeah.
and you went up to South Carolina this weekend. You played a lot of golf this
Yeah,
week. We got
yeah,
more coming.
yeah. I went up to Tree Farm. Took 3 buddies up there and played 72 holes. Stayed 2 nights. I had a couple tour caddies on the bag too, out of nowhere. Got John Davenport, who caddied for Brian Harmon for a few years and Sepp for a long time, and I was on Grayson Sig's bag. He was awesome. He's like just a total dude. Great caddy. And then Tony Navarro, who was in the Caddy Hall of Fame, who was like caddied for Slugger White when he first. I was like, "Who was your first bag?" He was like, "Oh, Slugger White for like first year." He made like $8,000 the whole year. He caddied in the crazy. I mean, he caddied in like every big tournament for 40 years, but he caddied in the original Players Championship when they had it at Sawgrass Country Club.
The wind year.
Yeah, like we talked about that for like 3 holes. He was like, "Oh, yeah,
God.
Jim." He was like, "Jim Dent came off and he shot 71," and he's like, "That's the best round of golf I've ever played before." And yeah, one with Seve down in New Orleans one time. He had some great stories about that.
He was on third leg Greg's bag for a while too.
For 16 years.
Jesus, 16 years.
Yeah,
that was that long.
Yeah. So I asked him what his favorite, his favorite tournament they ever won was, and he was like, he was like, honestly, they all mean a lot, but the Players in '94 when Norman just boat raced the field,
record, right?
Zeller I think was 3 or 4 back, and the next closest guy was like another 4 or 5 back of him, and set the record. Low round of the tournament or low round of the day on Sunday. Shot 63 first round, like just an absolute master class. But yeah, just just a lovely guy. Like so soft spoken, and he's getting ready to be a grandfather. His granddaughters due here soon, and it was such an awesome surprise. I was like, he was like, "Hey, I'm Tony." I was like,
Tony Navarro.
Yeah, I was like, "Really? Okay, we're doing that today." It was just, it was like one of the for like a golf nerd.
Yeah,
it was just one of the coolest little like aha moments of like, wait, oh, it's that Tony.
that's fantastic. Well, we got some more golf to be played this week. We're gonna do a little. We're going up to Seattle and play the Monday, the Pro-Am of the RSM this week, and then a little surprise filming on Tuesday. More to come on that one, hopefully before the end of the year. But that's going to be some fun. So. Obviously, we have the RSM this week on the PGA Tour, CME Tour Championship on the LPGA Tour in the No Laying Up Pro Shop. The Black Friday sale is on for everyone now through December 1st. Everyone can take 20% off any order of 100 or more with code GETINVOLVED. Again, code GETINVOLVED gets you 20% off any order over $100 from now through December 1st. Nest members can take 25% off every order, regardless of size, in the same time frame, using the normal Nest member discount code, which is Nest member. You can't just use that one if you're not a Nest member. It has to match up with your email, all that stuff. So get involved as your code if you're not a Nest member, and then, of course, use your Nest member discount code as well. Great gifts for your golf and golf-adjacent friends as well. Our holiday gift guide is at store.nolayingup.com as well. You'll find the gift guide in the collections drop-down in the top. Some highlights, some elevated golf accessories, tie-dyed and embroidered towels from Winston Collection, new putter covers from Handcrafted Golf, and hand-forged ball markers from Seamus are a few of the offerings when you want to gift someone just a little extra. We got golf and travel bags from Travelers by Club Glove, and bags from Titleist to essential travel items like DOP kits, shoe and laundry bags, all perfect gifts for your friend who always have a golf trip planned on their calendar. We've got great fleece options as well. Q-Zips, perfect for your turkey-induced nap on Thanksgiving Day. So check it out. Again, code GETINVOLVED will get you 20% off any order of more than $100. Store.nolayingup.com. Anything else before we wrap, TC?
No, that's it. We got a lot of windshield time the next couple of days. So
we do. We got send us give me a really good true crime podcast for the car that we can kill in 8 hours. That's what gets me on through some of these long drives. We got a lot of driving to be done. It can't be like, don't give me like true crime junkies. I need like a case that's riveting. All right. Send me one, drop it in the comments if you're still listening to this. And that's going to get us through the drive. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you back here next week. Crack on.